Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Lucy and I run Lulu Rocks. Now today I am going to do a bit of a different video. I normally do studio vlogs, but I thought it would be good to talk about Etsy versus Shopify. A lot of people have problems with Etsy and want to move to Shopify, or vice versa, just starting out business, not sure which to use. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of talk through some of the pros and cons and the benefits and kind of compare them. So I have been running an Etsy shop since 2017 and I've had a Shopify website since 2018. Now I just want to point out that I am not an expert in either program, website, whatever. Some of these are fact, some of these points are my opinion. Take what you will from it. Now, the plans that I'm going to be comparing are just the basic plans that you get with them. So both websites you can upgrade on. So I will probably mention a little bit about the upgrades, but I'm just going to be comparing the main basic plans. I apologise for the glare on my glasses when I look up. I've got a big light set up because it's a bit gloomy outside today. To start off with, I'm going to talk about some of the pros and cons for both, just kind of in general. The first one is that both Etsy and Shopify both connect to Royal Mail Click and Drop. Now, I use Royal Mail Click and Drop to post all of my parcels, and if you want any more information, I do have a tutorial on how to use and set up and connect to Click and Drop, so I will leave a link in the description for you if you want to check that out. But yeah, both websites connect to that, so that's a pro of both. One of the cons is that if you have both, you have to have two inventories, and it can be quite a pain in the bum to manage two lots of stock. So if I've got 100 pins, you know, it sounds simple, you put 50 in one and 50 on the other, but once you start getting kind of to low quantities and you sell out on one, then you've got to move them across. So you just got to make sure that you always know how much you've got in stock and kind of divide it up evenly. So that's a little bit of a con of having both. Another pro is that on both Etsy and Shopify, you can have sales and discounts. The way that you set them up is slightly different, but yeah, so that's a pro for both things. If you do have both Etsy and Shopify, it does mean that you have two lots of orders to manage. So if you don't use something like Click and Drop, it can be a bit difficult. And even if you do, to be fair, you've still got to look across two different apps or two different platforms to work out who's having what. Both sites have quick edit options for your listings, so you can edit multiple listings at once by clicking through the settings, and you know, you can update all the prices or you can update the quantities, and you can bulk edit listings. Personally, I'd say that both are easy to build. Both Etsy and Shopify are, you know, fairly easy and simple, straightforward. As long as you've got a little bit of computer knowledge, it doesn't take too long. Although they're not similar in how you build them, and Shopify will take a little bit longer because it's a lot more customized, which I'll go through a little bit more later. They're fairly simple. You can watch a few tutorials online, on YouTube, and go off on your merry way. Unfortunately, you do have to do your SEO, which is search engine optimization, I think. Yes, SEO stands for search engine optimization. You do have to do that for both Etsy and Shopify. So I definitely recommend having a little Google on that before you get set up. SEO basically is how people find your shop, and it's using certain keywords to make sure that people are finding you. The first kind of topic that I'm going to cover is traffic. The good thing about Etsy is that it is a marketplace, and Etsy themselves drive traffic to your store. There's like a community of customers already there looking on Etsy, which means that even if you don't have a huge following on social media, you can still set up an Etsy shop and be successful and get lots of sales, because people aren't trying to find you necessarily through social media. Now, they might find you through social media, they might find you through Google, but a lot of people actually go on Etsy to shop. So if you do have a shop on Etsy, you've already got customers looking at your store. With your own website, such as Shopify, you do have to drive your own traffic. That means that you need to make sure your SEO is correct, and it will be through social media and Google and things like that that people find you. So that's one of the pros for Etsy, is that there's already this community, there's already these customers there that are shopping and actually like going on Etsy to support small businesses. Now, with regards to customization, with the basic plan on Etsy, it's fairly limited. I mean, you can update your kind of cover image and have like a little shop announcement and a few little bits and bobs. But if you want it to be any more customized, you do need to upgrade. Whereas with the basic Shopify plan, you can have a fully customized site. And if you're good at HTML coding, which I am not, you can really customize it. But if you're not, it's all good. There's templates there set out for your website, and you can change all the colors, you can change, I don't know, images, you can add in contact forms, you can add in extra pages. There's all sorts you can do. So Shopify really offers more if you want a custom site. The stats, let's talk about stats. Stats are really important. It helps you know who's coming to your site, how they're finding you, what they're looking at, what they're buying. Now, with the basic plans on both Etsy and Shopify, I'd say the stats are quite lacking. Now, there are add-on apps that you can get to give you more detailed stats, but you have to pay for them. Now, maybe I'm missing something, I don't know, but with the basic plans, I just think the stats are rubbish in comparison to Etsy. Etsy, you get like lots of information, full breakdown of what's your most popular product for views, what's your most popular product for sales, likes. You can see all different breakdowns and overviews. If you're using ads, you can really kind of drill in to see what's working and what's not. So in my opinion, Etsy wins on the stats front with the basic plan. If you own your own custom domain, so I own lularocks.com, you have to pay if you want your Etsy shop to have that custom domain. Whereas with Shopify, that comes as standard. If you already own your domain, you can just hook it up, link it up. You don't have to pay any extra. Obviously, you do have to pay for a domain in the first place, but if you already own it, you don't have to pay any extra. You can just link it to your Shopify and you're all good. But like I said, with Etsy, you do have to pay to upgrade to have that benefit. Okay, tax. Now, I just want to put it out there. I am not an accountant. I am not an expert with tax or anything financial, so as much as I'd love to help you out on the tax front, I can't. But Etsy does your tax for you. So if you're selling to a country where you need to add tax onto the products, Etsy sorts it all out. They work out where your customer's from, how much tax needs to be charged, and they do it all automatically. Unfortunately, Shopify is manual. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody knows how to automate the tax on Shopify, hit me up in the comments, send me a DM or something, or an email, because I actually don't know how to do it. I could probably Google it. Maybe it can't be done at all. I don't know, but as far as I'm aware, with Shopify, unfortunately, that is not done for you. If you have a slightly sizable business and you have staff, with Shopify, you can actually have extra staff accounts. So multiple people can log on and manage it. Sorry, I had a little hair. Multiple people can actually log in and manage it, and you have different user accounts. Unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, with Etsy, you can't do that. You might be able to do it on the upgrade, but you can't do it on the basic plan. Now, I'm just me on my own, so it doesn't really bother me, but you might have a large business, you might have multiple staff members. Okay, so those are some of the kind of topics that, you know, we can compare. So now I'm going to go on to some of the pros and cons for just Etsy, and then I'll do some of the pros and cons for just Shopify. Some of the pros for Etsy is that you can have ads set up, which means that, you know, you pay a little bit of money and you'll go higher in the search listing thingy majiggy. Oh, I'm not even using all the good technical speak, am I? Sorry. As I said, I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert, I just run a shop. There's also Etsy fairs. So if you sell on Etsy, you automatically qualify to apply to be a seller at an Etsy fair. It doesn't mean you automatically get space, but you can apply. Now these Etsy fairs sometimes are great. I guess it probably depends on your location, the location of the fair, but I've been to, I want to say 3, and they were really good. I bought in some great sales, and yes, I had to pay, yes, I had to apply and be accepted, but if I didn't sell on Etsy, I wouldn't be able to even attend those fairs as a seller at all. So that's one of the good things. As well as that, there's a real kind of sense of community within Etsy. So you often have local seller teams. So my local team is the Etsy Southampton team, and they're great. And through that, not only have I done the fairs, but I've also gone to kind of training days, and I've got to know some other sellers and the organisers, and it can be really lonely running your own business. So if you've got a shop on Etsy and you can get involved in the community side of it locally, then it can be really great. I've met some fantastic sellers who I'd like to say are friends, and yeah, it's just, there's a real sense of community there. Personally, I feel like Etsy is easy to manage. It's easy to manage my listings, it's easy to manage my money, it's just quite straightforward. So I'd say that's a big plus for the Etsy side. Now I'm gonna move on to some cons. Unfortunately, if you make over a certain amount of sales on Etsy, you have to take part in the offsite ads. It's a forced thing if you get over a certain amount of money. Now personally, I don't, so it's not an issue for me, and I actually choose to do the offsite ads. Now if you're not sure what offsite ads is, it is ads that come up on like Google Shopping, for example, so you can choose whether you want to pay a bit extra for your listings to show up in Google Shopping. Now, like I said, unfortunately, if you are one of those people that brings in quite a lot of money through Etsy, you don't get a choice. It's automatic. You get charged for offsite ads. You don't have a choice. A lot of big sellers don't like that. Like I said, I actually choose to do it. So for me, it probably wouldn't be an issue, but that's just something to consider when it comes to Etsy. Another negative, which is a real pain, I'll be honest, is the US free shipping. Now, if you're in the UK, like me, shipping to the US is actually really expensive. Now, if you have a customer who spends over a certain amount, you can choose to offer free US shipping. I think it's $30, but don't quote me on that. Now, I have chosen to opt in, however, I don't want to. The reason I have chosen to opt in is because, and I don't know how true this is, apparently you rank higher on the search if you offer free shipping. So basically, if you don't, you're kind of being punished because other people will show up higher if someone searched for, I don't know, potion pin. I have a lot of potion enamel pins, and I didn't offer free shipping for the US, then other people who do would rank higher than me. So it's a pain in the bum because it means that I have to absorb those costs myself, and Etsy just kind of recommend, oh, put your prices up, which isn't fantastic, you know, because I want to try and keep my prices down as much as possible while still making profit. So that's something that you've got to decide and choose whether you want to do that or not. But it's not forced. You don't have to do it. You just might get punished if you don't. Okay, so on to Shopify. Some more pros. Personally, I think that having a Shopify website is more visually appealing. Because I said you can make it completely customized, you can add extra pages in, you can add a portfolio in, you can have a gallery, you can have a contact form. There's so many things you can do. You can have information banners, slideshows. The possibilities are endless. So it's much more visually appealing than just an Etsy shop that looks the same as everybody else's. Another pro, which is really quite cool for Shopify, is that you can enter all your customs information. So if you're selling overseas, you need to enter customs information. With Etsy, there's nowhere to enter it, which means that every time you do an order, say on click and drop, you have to enter it all manually. Eventually, click and drop will recognize the customs data, but it can be just a little bit of a pain. Again, I'll go into that a little bit more on my click and drop video, so if you want to check that out, it's in the description. With Shopify, you can enter that data into Shopify so that when it feeds through to click and drop, all of the customs information is already there. Which is great because, oh my God, it is a pain filling out customs information. Especially now that we've left the EU, we now have to do customs information for European orders as well. Cool. So you also get abandoned carts in Shopify. So if somebody's put something in their cart and then not bought it, you can see who they are, what they had, and how much their order is. And you can choose to send them like a code if you want. And actually, I think you can do that on Etsy. I don't think you can drill in and see who it is, but I think you can set it up so that an automatic code goes out to people if they put stuff in your basket and don't buy it. So like, here, come back, have 10% off, you know, that kind of stuff. But with Shopify, you can really see who who's done it, how much it is, and do it manually if you want, so you don't have to send them an email, or you can. Maybe you can set up automated ones. I don't really know. Now, apparently you can actually do email campaigns with Shopify, but I'll be honest, I don't use it and have never looked into it. I don't know how it works with regards to GDPR. So there's that. Personally, I use MailChimp, so people have to sign up to MailChimp to be on my newsletter kind of list. But yeah, so there's that. Apparently you can do that through Shopify. Now, there's also gift cards on Shopify. I'll be honest, I thought that gift cards were only available if you upgraded, but when I was looking into it, there was an option for gift cards. And I haven't turned it on and I haven't looked into it, so I don't know. But if that's something that you want to look into, you're thinking about gift cards, Shopify does have that capability. Whether you have to upgrade or not, I don't know. But it's there. As I said, there are add-on apps for Shopify, like digital downloads. You can get an app for that. I mean, Etsy does digital downloads as standard, but you can get an app on Shopify that you add on, which allows you to do digital files like wallpapers and printables and things like that. So yeah, there's lots of apps. Like, I mean, the gallery of apps is huge. So there's probably so much more that I have no idea about that you could add on. You can also see all of your customer data. Now, I think this might only be if they've set up an account. I don't know for definite, but it means that if you've got a customer who's having an issue, like their details are wrong and they can't change it, you can do it for them. Like an email address or their postcode or phone number or whatever it is, you can go into their account and you can change the details. You can also connect your Shopify store to Facebook and in turn then to Instagram, which means that your products and your posts can be tagged as products, so people can click through the links directly to that product onto your shop. Now, it's all done through Facebook, like Business Suite or Business Manager. That takes a lot of setting up, but it is doable, whereas you can't do that with Etsy, as far as I'm aware. Now, onto the cons of Shopify. Other than the ones I've already mentioned, I have none. I racked my brain. I've already covered all of the negatives that I could think of. I have no extra negatives. So as you can see, the list of pros against Shopify, there are a lot compared to the pros of Etsy, and I have no extra cons. Okay, I am going to now talk about the fees. It's what all of you wanted. I put out a poll or a question thing on Instagram and said, what do you want me to cover in this video? And so many of you said the fees. So I will try and go through it as best I can. One thing I will say is that the fees on some of them are set up in US dollars, so I've had to convert it to GBP. So it might not be accurate because of exchange rates and all that rubbish. So it'll give you a rough idea. Okay, I have my iPad here. With Etsy, there is no subscription fee. It costs you nothing to sign up. You do have to pay per listing, which roughly works out about 14p per listing. Now, if I list one item, it's 14p, and that lasts for 4 months, or if the product is sold. So if I don't sell it in the 4 months, it will renew again after 4 months. So I have to pay another 14p after 4 months. If I sell it after a week, I have to pay another 14p to relist it again. For the fees for the sales, it is a 5% transaction fee, plus a 4% payment processing fee, plus 20 pence. Now, I don't know why it's done like that and written out like that, and it's kind of confusing, but I will give you a comparison in a minute. With Shopify, the subscription is $29. I did not convert that to GBP. Okay. But it's $29 a month for the standard Shopify plan. So when you compare that to Etsy, which is £0, it seems like quite a lot of money. However, you pay nothing for listings. You can list as many products as you want. You pay nothing. It's just $29 a month. You do pay transaction fees. The transaction fee is 2.2% plus 20 pence. Now, when you compare that to Etsy, which was about 9% plus 20 pence, is a lot cheaper. However, if you are dealing with non-Shopify payments, so I guess PayPal and things like that, it's an extra 2%, which is still a lot less than Etsy. So how does that translate? How do we work out which one's cheaper? Because, you know, to me personally, there's just a lot of numbers and stats. So I have done some examples. Now these are rough. If I list 10 items on both sites and sell all 10 items on both sites, I would make £150 in sales if the product was, say, £15 including shipping. So I'd make £150. On Etsy, I pay £16.90. On Shopify, I pay £30.30, roughly. So Etsy's a lot cheaper on that front. Now if we move to 100 items that I'm listing, and I sell out all 100 items and they're all £15 each, I take £1,500 in sales. On Etsy, it cost me £169. On Shopify, it cost me £105. If I go to a load of products and I'm listing 500 products and I sell all of those 500 products, on Etsy, you're paying £845. On Shopify, you're paying $437. Sales, you'd get £7,500. So as you can see, it kind of seems like if you're just starting out, you're going to pay less on Etsy. But the more products you get, the cheaper it is to be on Shopify, because you're not having to pay for those listings. You're not having to pay huge fees on each sale you do, but you do have to pay that upfront $29 a month. That's where it comes in. That's, I think, where the difference happens. I'm going to kind of round it off here. Etsy is a really good platform when you're starting out. There's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of bad feelings towards it because of the changes that they have made over the years, and artists who have been on there since the beginning don't like it, and I do understand that. But personally, I still like Etsy. I still have an Etsy shop. If I didn't like Etsy, I wouldn't have a shop. Shopify is a good platform once you've started growing. I wouldn't personally recommend that you start out on Shopify because of how expensive it is compared to Etsy when you're small. So my personal opinion is to follow in my footsteps and start out on Etsy to begin with, and then move to Shopify once you start getting sales. But again, this is just my opinion, and you can do whatever you want, whatever you think suits you. You can take the information from this video, and I hope it helps you, come to a decision. I personally get quite a lot of traffic from Etsy. In 2020, 46% of my sales came from Etsy. Now, okay, that's less than half, and 54% came from Shopify, but that's still quite a lot. And when Instagram, for example, stops showing people your posts because of the algorithm and all this and all that, I'm not getting into the Instagram algorithm on this video, by the way, but if that does happen and your posts all of a sudden aren't reaching any of your customers, if you've got Etsy, people are still going to find you. If all you've got is your own website and you rely on social media and like Google, you might have more ups and downs. So personally, I see more consistent sales through Etsy. Although I took less money from Etsy, it's more consistent. I get like regular sales on a weekly basis through there. Whereas with Shopify, it's more like when I do big drops, new product releases and things like that. So that's my personal experience. One thing I will say is that on both Etsy and Shopify, it can take a little while for your sales to actually kind of start being regular. You can't kind of just sign up, put your stuff in the shop and just expect to get sales straight away. Unfortunately, it is something you have to work on all the time, and it is something that builds up over time. So you can see here my stats between 2017 and last year, 2020. There's no point me including this year because we're only a few months in. 2017, I was only on Etsy, and you can see that my sales are very, very low. In 2018, they increased quite a lot. And then I started my Shopify later in the year. In 2019, my Etsy sales were still more than my Shopify, although both grew. And then in 2020, my Shopify grew and overtook my Etsy. But you can see that my Etsy stats stayed around the same between 2019 and 2020. But it is something that's a gradual thing. It isn't something you can just kind of set up and expect the world. Now, don't get me wrong, some people will have overnight success, but it's just, you can't just expect that to happen. So that's something to bear in mind. So each basic plan for both Etsy and Shopify has lots of different features and benefits, and I would definitely recommend you having a look. I'd be here all day if I went through every single benefit and feature. So I would recommend having a little Google. You can literally just type in Shopify plan and I think Etsy plan, and it will come up with kind of what is included in each package, and you can also compare it to the upgraded packages as well and have a little look. Like I said, a lot of people don't like Etsy, and I completely understand the reason why, but for me, Etsy are a business too, and they do need to make money. Now, yes, a lot of people feel like they no longer care about the sellers and it's more about profit than it is community for them. But again, that's something I guess that you're not going to know how you feel about it unless you try. Personally, I still like Etsy, and I just like to say that this video is not sponsored in any way. I am just doing a comparison to help you guys out. So I'm going to leave it here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you found it helpful. I hope that you could take something away. If you do have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I will try my best to get back to you, and I will try my hardest to answer them. I might not have all the answers, as I've said about a million times. I'm not an expert, but I will try for you. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again very, very soon. Bye.